Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to talk about everything relating to crossfields. We're going to talk about the optimal way to farm, how to start out in crossfields, what the best way to go is, what the towers do. So let's go ahead and dig in. So first off, let's talk about the towers. So the towers give you a buff, which increases the drop rate of shards for you. Now, what is a shard, you ask? Well, the shard is this thing in particular. The shards are one of the most important aspects of the crossfield. So when you do have the tower battle every day, you're basically fighting for possession of the tower. Now, you don't get the buff from just winning the battle with the tower. You do also have to run up to it, and you do have to click it in order to get the buff. Now, you can only get the buff once per session or once per server battle. That's going to be once per day after the server battle has taken place, and the buff only lasts an hour. So when you're looking at how to optimally farm in the crossfield, the best way to optimally farm, if you have the buff, is to wait until your server can get the buff, or if you're consistently getting the buff, farm 1 hour per day with that buff, and do that every single day throughout the week. Now, you do get 30 minutes of time per day to farm, so as long as your server wins every other day, you're going to be able to keep up. You also get a buff that you can get in the Ice Jade shop, which does give you an hour-long space-time blessing as well. So there's a variety of ways to get this buff. There's a variety of ways to optimize it. But the first thing you need to know, if you are trying to optimize your time, optimize your build, you are going to want to grind when you have that buff active. That's probably the most important thing. You can see right now, I have time left. I have 57 minutes. That's because I used some of my items already. But because I don't have the buff until after today's server battle over the statue, I'm not going to farm until I get that. So I am a little bit behind in terms of farming because I didn't farm that first day. So that's how you optimally farm. How do you go about starting your farming? What's the most important thing to do here? Now, there is a couple of things that are critical. When you come in here for the first time, you're going to want to make sure on your space-time cube, that's going to be under power up, space-time cube, you're going to want to set some of these shards. Now, the reason the shards are really important is because they give you penetration. So, you're going to want to farm your first tier 1 shard. The stats don't matter. What matters is just getting this penetration onto your cube. So farm your tier 1s. Once you farm your tier 1s, you can leapfrog to farm tier 2s. Once you have a full set of 2 tier 2s, you can leapfrog to farm tier 3s. Now, I would not recommend that you go immediately to tier 3. Most people can't do that. I started farming tier 2, and that was a little bit difficult for my character. I'm about 2.2 million CP, so some people may need to start out farming tier 1s. A good indicator of whether you can kill an enemy or not, you can look at here when you pull up the map list. You can see that it goes green. You can see there's some monsters that are yellow. You can see there are some monsters that are red. This adjusts to the total amount of penetration that your character has. So for me right now, an optimal farming area is going to be the yellow here because it does drop tier 3 and it's yellow, so it's not going to take a super long time to kill, but I am going to be able to get what I need here. So if you are just starting out like I did, I farmed over here, I actually started on the area 4, and you want to check area 4 is probably the best, I think. But I started here because this dropped tier 2. So you don't want to spend your time enhancing tier 1 all the way up, and then tier 2 all the way up, because the difference between a tier 1 and a tier 2 is massive. You literally, like, as soon as you get that NQ tier 2, it's going to be better than any enhancement that you have in your tier 1. So literally you're going to leapfrog it. It can take you 17 minutes. By 17 minutes, I had 2 tier 3s on my character. So it's not going to take that long. So you're going to go farm, you know, the Marins and the Marin Mass for like 13 minutes. You'll get your first tier 2s, and you're like, okay, where do I go now? Well, you come down here and you look at what drops a tier 3. So tier 3 first begins dropping from the Skelly Plasms in Area 9. I would recommend you go and farm those, and I would recommend you farm those until you get a full set of tier 3 so that you can buff your cube. Now, preliminary reports right now are that people, if they max out their time, are able to get close to level 30 on their cube. You do want to get into those farming of areas 9s or higher areas, because you're going to get more EXP items for your cube. So you power up your cube as you're going. It takes these little blue items here in the upper right hand corner, and you want to get your cube up to level 30, because at level 30 it opens up another slot, right? So when you're looking at your equipment, you're basically the grinding, right, is going to be farming for more tier 3s in order to enhance this even higher, right? And then once you enhance this higher, or once you hit cube level 3, your huge penetration bonus that you're going to get is from unlocking this slot. So once your cube's level 30 and you unlock that slot, you're going to throw in another tier 3, and your penetration is just going to skyrocket. So you do want to try and farm the higher level monsters faster, because you do get more of the shards or the items that you need in order to level up your cube. One thing people were asking me, and that I was struggling with, and shout out to World Chat for showing me, what do you do with all of your extra tier 1s and tier 2s? Well, first off, we do have a shard record, so keep in mind it is a good idea to at least get a tier 1 up to +10, just so that you can get the stats. It is attack, at least for a few of them, defense, so you're gonna want to at least get tier 1 up to +10 once. But if you're wanting to get rid of them and they're taking up too much space, you can actually salvage them from the equip menu. You just go through here and it gives you the EXP items that you need, and this will help you, of course, build up that cube and try to get that cube to level 30. This is all stuff that's really important just to keep doing. Now, you can change stats eventually on your shards. Honestly, I'm not even worried about the stats right now. The thing that I am most focused on is actually leveling up my cube and enhancing my shards as much as possible to get the most amount of penetration. Now, there is another floor in space-time, and a lot of people are wondering, how do I get to that other floor? Well, you are going to have to help your server clear the boss in order to do that. So you do need to get, if you can, get up to that tier 3 pen on your weapons or on your cube so that you can actually deal damage to the chaos or the crossfield boss, because in order to unlock the next floor, you're going to need to kill the crossfield boss multiple times as a server. So in order to unlock tier 2, it's not based on your individual killing, it's based on your server's capability to actually kill the crossfield boss multiple times. So it's going to be a week, 2 weeks before we actually unlock tier 2, which is going to give you guys a lot of time to catch up. And if you think about it, if you feel like you fall behind or you do fall behind, you can literally, on the next floor, you can literally just like jump in, upgrade to tier 4, all of a sudden your penetration is going to be almost the same as everybody else, right? Because when you upgrade to the tier 4, 5, 6, it's going to be a lot more powerful than that initial tier 3 power that you do have. Now, there is a shop, which is important to note here. So if you go into your metal shops and you go to the Ice Jade shop, you do have things here that are very important to grab. You do have the buff, so you get this once per week. This is going to be really good if there is a day where you or your guild does not have access to the statue. This will give you the same amount of hour-long farming that you can get if your kingdom or your server loses, which is great. So this is going to be important to buy. An important note here too, when you do unlock tier 2, you also get it for tier 2, so very nice here. Now, there is unstable time stones. These are weekly. You can buy 5 of these. You will want to buy these out right away. It's not mandatory right this second to get them, but it will be nice to have. And when you are farming, for example, like our server is probably going to be winning most server wars, so we'll probably have statue every day. Most of us are probably going to want to get these faster and sooner rather than later so that we can keep farming and we can use that optimal amount of time that the statue is going to give us. Now, there are other goodies in here, such as dark magic crystals, which I will definitely grab, and you're going to want to grab the puzzle pack so that you can max out that puzzle as quick as possible. Now, the food is really interesting. So you do craft the food from your kingdom. So the kingdom is possible for crafting the food. It is increasing attack, but it also gives you increased penetration or increased pierce, and there's 2 different foods that do this, so you can stack the effect to get an increase of penetration for a certain amount of time. This is pretty nice, although honestly you're not going to really get a ton of food drops, it feels like. So this would actually be on the lesser important side, I feel like, in terms of farming and prioritizing right now. Most of the time right now, I'm just going to be focusing on grabbing puzzle pieces, grabbing time extensions, and just coming in here every day for 1 hour after we get the initial tower battle. And then I will farm this with that 1 hour time frame, and hopefully we'll kind of catch up really quickly. I don't want to bust out all my time. I know there are people who are busting out their time to get that 560, 570 penetration so that they can, you know, really get into kind of doing what they got to do. But I have a feeling it's going to be really easy to hit that 600 pen wall in order to go up to floor 2. That's kind of the goal right now. You want to hit that 600 penetration so that you can get up to the 2nd floor. Once you hit that 600 pen, it's pretty much all gravy. You're going to be grinding it out relatively easy. And I don't think it's going to take a lot of work to hit that 600 pen, because I'm at 337 right now. A tier 3 basic gives 161, so when I hit level 30, that's going to be an additional 161 on top of this, and you know, it's going to be enhancements on top of that. So I think it'll be relatively easy to achieve that. So anyway, everybody, let me know what you guys think about the XField so far. I have been having a lot of fun with it. I'm pretty psyched. I'm sorry for whatever server we crush and kill. Jay Gemini, I hope it's not you. And you guys, I will catch you all next time.